and welcome to Sports Your Shorts. This is Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And today we have a really busy show to you. We're going to start off with MLB because it's in the start of its season. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the teams that are kind of struggling and whether we think they need to panic and maybe figure some things out, or do we think that since it's a long season it may kind of just work itself out. Jimmy, you got any news for the MLB?
Well, the Cardinals are 3-8 right now. Their bullpen's having problems, and some of their veterans are not hitting very well.
Yeah, veterans like Yadier Molina is having a batting average in the low 200s, and other veterans are also having batting averages very low. And the bullpen is giving up runs left and right. Like they'll be up 5-1, and then the bullpen will give up about 6 runs, and they'll end up losing the game. So it's still early in the season. I mean, it's only 11 games out of 162, so this is something that they could work it out. And I don't know if it's going to affect them long term because, again, they could trade for someone in bullpen, or they could pick someone up, or maybe someone in the minors could help them. So this might not have much effect.
Now the Blue Jays are also not doing well. They're 2-9, but their offense is weak.
Well, they have a lot of veterans, and when you have a lot of veterans, it's either you're going to get good hitting or you're going to get bad hitting. And they're getting old, they're getting up there in age, their bodies maybe can't take a whole MLB season, and they need some young guys to help them maybe.
And the Royals are tied for last in their division at 5-6. What do you think their problem is?
Well, the Royals, I've always thought they run their offense on speed, and they don't have many power guys that can get them the runs they need. And they always kind of rely on their pitching to kind of carry them. Like, we're only going to get 5 runs this game, or we're only going to get 3 runs and hope we win 3-1. And that's not always the case in MLB. Some games you've got to get more than 3 runs to win a game, and your pitching can't carry you the whole time.
Now, they are on a winning streak of 3 in a row.
Yeah.
They're only 2 games back, so, I mean, we're only 11 games in the season out of 162, so we've got a long way to go.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful that we'll turn it around, but we'll see later on when it happens.
I feel like you don't have to panic now. For these teams that are struggling right now, you're only 11 games in. It's not really time to panic right now. When you get to the 40-game mark and you're still 6 games behind 500, then it's time to panic. Then it's time for you to maybe try a new starter, bring someone up in the minors, try a new bullpen, have one of your starters go in the bullpen, or have him pitch a couple games and kind of stuff like that, or get some hitting by pinch hitting and bring some guys up. Then it's time to start thinking those kind of things. But when you're 11 games in, I think it's too early to start panicking.
Now we got our division leaders. We got the MLB best record, the Orioles. They're leading the East. The Detroit Tigers are leading the Central in the American League. And the AL West is led by the Houston Astros, who's leading the National League.
The NL East is led by the New York Mets. The Central is led by the Cincinnati Reds. And the West has kind of a shocker, is the Colorado Rockies. And those are the teams right now that are leading their divisions.
Which one do you think right now is going to lead throughout the entire year?
Throughout the entire year? I think the Astros will continue. They have a very good team, and they have great pitching. I think the Colorado Rockies will be a team that kind of maybe stays at the head of their division because they have a good rookie in Trevor Storm. He had an amazing year last year, and I think that he's a good enough player to continue to have an amazing year. So, how about you, Jimmy? What team do you think may stay up at the top?
I would like to see the Colorado Rockies.
Same team?
Yeah, just because that's last time they were there was like the first year I actually watched the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
But in other news, Tim Tebow is lighting it up in the single A.
It's single A though. Should we really?
But it's Tim Tebow.
But it's single A.
I don't care. Listen. In the last 10 games, he's got 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, and 5 hits. Granted, he's had 31 at-bats. But it's Tim Tebow.
Here's my thing. MLB it's the biggest game about second chances. If you go 3 for 10, they consider you great. So for him having 31 at-bats and having those stats, they're pretty big.
I mean, he's only batting 161, but
You still got those stats.
he's still got 6 RBIs.
Yeah. So maybe he'll get to Double A. They were making jokes in other sports shows about maybe teams trading for him because he's doing so well and they're doing so poorly. So maybe that might happen, but I don't see him making it to the MLB anytime soon. It'll be probably after the All-Star break. We hear stuff.
I don't think he'll ever be in the MLB, but I'm going to root for him wherever he goes.
But I don't see anything wrong with that. Tim Tebow's a good person, and he's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, he's if he's doing this in Single A, I mean, it'd be fun to watch.
I mean, he's obviously fun to watch. Women are stalking him into the locker room.
Yeah. So, and he must be fun to watch because we're reporting about him right now. So,
All right, let's segue into the NBA.
okay.
The last game of the regular season, the Nets benched their 6 best players, basically just handed the Bulls a playoff spot over the Heat. What do you think about that?
I don't know if it's necessarily handing them because the Heat still had a chance to make the playoffs if Indiana lost. But since Indiana won, it didn't help the Heat chance for making the playoffs. So it just, regardless, the Heat should have had they lost some games toward the end, and they had a really bad streak. I think they lost like 5 or 6 in a row towards the end of the season that really killed them.
I get that, and I think that they should have put themselves in that position anyway. And the Bulls probably would have beat the Nets either way, but the Nets said they rested their 6 best players to rest them.
Mm-hmm.
What do they need rest for? That was their last game of the year.
Yeah, they weren't gonna make the playoffs or anything. They won. They weren't gonna make the playoffs if they lost.
Do you think Adam Silver needs to stop this? And what do you think is going to happen? Because there's going to be backlash.
There's gonna be backlash, but I don't know how Adam Silver is gonna stop it because he's the buddy guy. I don't know unless someone takes his job or threatens his job that he's gonna stop it.
There's going to be a lot of controversy in the NBA this offseason because Pat Riley is not going to. He's not happy.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of people not happy about it.
the only really big thing Adam Silver's had to deal with was the Clippers owner. What was his name?
I can't remember his name, but the whole debacle of the Clippers owner.
That was easy because everybody wanted him gone anyway.
Yeah.
This is a real thing he's going to have to deal with, and I'm not sure how he's going to do it, but he needs to do something because this shouldn't stand.
It shouldn't. And the fact that teams are getting away with it is something that I do not agree with completely. Teams should not get away with just not starting their players because the game has to be relevant. Every game should want to be relevant. Every team should want to go out there and say, we're going to give a heart out and we're going to try to win this game. If you're not going if your goal in the season is not to go 82-0, what are you playing for?
And the NBA ratings are just terrible this year.
Yeah, what are you playing for if your goal is not to go 82-0? That's one thing that I don't like. That's one thing about MLB too. Like they'll give up a game or they're like, oh, I had a bad night or there's always the next time. Like that's the same thing with the NBA. If you're not playing to get 82-0, I don't understand what you're playing for.
And you don't see this in hockey. They play tougher sport, same amount of games, and back-to-backs.
Yeah, and because they're playing to win. They want to win every game. The NBA just thinks, oh, we lose one game, it's fine. And it's not. If you affect, this is going to affect how everything goes. If you tank a season, it's not good. If you, like, you're not going to get someone good in the draft. You just can't keep on relying that your team's going to get better by the draft. You've got to start working with the people you have and start trying to win games now.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to get better.
I don't know if they need to shorten the season or what, but the regular season doesn't matter. LeBron's already said it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the playoffs started, and the Cavaliers almost lost their first game. They won by 1 point, and Paul George for the Pacers was mad that he didn't get the last shot. He was frustrated that he didn't even touch the ball on the last drive.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Before we get too deep into this, I think this really affects how the Pacers are going to start doing things. And I don't know that it affects their team chemistry, because then he's basically just telling the person who got the last shot that you're not good enough.
I mean, he wasn't good enough because he didn't make the last shot.
Regardless, he's being down on his team.
He's the best player on that team. Why would you not give him the ball in that situation?
I'm not saying.
Do you think before LeBron went to the Heat, who did you want to have the ball in the last drive?
I
wanted Wade, right?
I wanted Wade to touch the ball.
Because,
maybe not take the shot,
okay,
but I wanted him to touch the ball.
Because he's the best player on the team.
Yes.
Games on the line, you want Steph Curry to have the ball.
Yes.
You want Chris Paul to have the ball. You want your best player to have the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not give Paul George the ball?
Down
by one, you'd want him in the post, and you'd want him to take the shot.
I don't know why they didn't give him the ball. I don't know why they didn't give it to him right off the inbound. I don't know why they gave it to C.J. Miles and have him do a crossover and shoot a terrible jumper. I don't know why they did that. I don't know. Maybe they thought C.J. Miles had the better matchup. I don't know why they did that. Before we get too deep in this, I want to go to one commercial break. So we're going to hit a commercial break. This is Sports Your Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
Everybody, it's the young visionary Kobe Thompson.
And this is the young king himself, Jay Todd.
And this is the +1, Jessica Miller.
And we are the originals, plus one. We are the originals because we've been doing our thing on the radio, J Todd. They just now getting in tune with it. But hey, tune in now. Better late than never, right?
We've been here, cats and kittens, cool men and cool women all around campus. Make sure you tune in every day from 7:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. sharp. Do not miss out.
Yes, please tune in for the best 30 minutes of your life.
Boom.
Bang.
Alright, we're back to Sports Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And we're going to pick up right where we left off. So we left off about talking about the Pacers and how we didn't necessarily agree that they went with C.J. Miles getting the ball and taking the shot. And Paul George is not happy about it. One thing that I kind of saw in this game, though, a little bit kind of that will lead up to Paul George taking what we think that Paul George should take the last shot is the game was not close until the fourth quarter. The Cavs, I don't want to say had a commanding lead, but they had a lead the whole game. Like they were up by like 10. The Pacers make a run, they're up by 5. They closed every quarter except the fourth quarter at least up by 5 points. And there were times where they were up by 20, and then the Pacers would just go on this huge run and get within single digits.
Okay, now is that a cause of concern for you with the Cavs that they just blew it right there at the end? They almost lost the game. Are you worried if you're a Cavs fan?
I am, because they can't play defense. They're allowing these runs. Like they were up by like 10, 15, and they would just allow another run and they'd be within 2 points. And I don't know if they're just slacking off on defense and just letting scores happen, but I feel like this series the Cavs should win in 4 games because you're 2 versus 7. You should win in 4 games.
You should.
You should not be challenged, or you should win in 5. Maybe they get 1 game, but that's it. But when you lose 1 game, when you win 1 game by 1 point, it's that deciding.
It could go 7.
It could go 7, and you could lose.
And that's not good because the Cavs, they're pretty beaten up this year, and I don't think they could handle 3 series of 7 and then go to the finals and win.
Yeah, and I know it's the first game, and maybe they didn't have a good game plan coming into it, and maybe none of the rest of the games will be affected like this, and maybe they'll win by like 20 all the rest of the games. But you played this game very terribly, and you won by a point. That has some concern for me, because this game could have gone either way. C.J. Miles could have made the shot, and the Pacers are 1-0 now. Or they could have let Paul George have the ball, and he could have made the shot. Pacers are 1-0. So I think it causes some concern. I don't know what you think about it, but I think it causes some concern.
I think it's very concerning, but we'll see later on.
In other NBA news, if we stop talking about the Cavs. The Jazz beat the Clippers by a last-second shot by Joe Johnson. Now, for me, I really like the Jazz, so I kind of want to see them beat the Clippers and at least make it to the second round. I think they're a very good team, so I think it'd be cool to see them make it to the second round.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see Chris Paul actually do something. So I'd like to see the Clippers go. I think it'd make for a more fascinating playoff game. Now, didn't the Jazz have an injury in this game?
Rudy Gobert, their starring center, who's a really good defensive player and helps them out, got injured and hyperextended his knee. And there's question that he may be out for the rest of the series.
That's not good.
With a hyperextended knee.
That really isn't good.
It's really not good against the Clippers because you've got Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. If he was your main defensive against them, it's going to have them struggling. And I think it could really affect them getting past this series now.
Another news, the Spurs beat the Grizzlies and the Bucks also beat the Raptors. I'm not sure either of these was really that shocking. I mean, Toronto is the 3 seed and the Bucks are 6, but I think Milwaukee has a better team.
And as much as I like Toronto, I think the Greek Freak is just too much for them to handle. And I really think that if he continues to develop, he can test LeBron in this division. And when they face each other, I think that's going to be a really good series. If the Bucks make it out past the Raptors and having the Greek Freak against LeBron, that series, that's going to be fun to watch.
And that's even if Cleveland can get through, because we don't know yet.
We don't. So
next, Boston, their Isaiah Thomas lost his sister in a deadly car crash.
And
Sad news, and I never want to hear anything like that.
Yeah, and I feel like prayers definitely go out to Isaiah, and I feel like he plays today against the Bulls, and I think that he's going to play his heart out for his sister. He really is. This game is probably going to be for her.
And that's who I think is going to go out of the East, actually. I think they're going to take it, but we'll see.
I really think Boston's going to take it, too. I think they're too strong of a team, and they played amazing in the regular season, and Isaiah Thomas has been breaking records and been an amazing point guard for them. When they got him, he was a second string, 6th man, coming off the bench, and he's done wonders for them. And he was called Mr. Fourth Quarter the whole year because of what he did in the fourth quarter. So I really think Boston has a strong chance to come out of the East. I mean, they got the number 1 seed, so.
Yeah, and in other news, our final topic in the NBA, Phil Jackson, the team picked up his 2-year option, and him and Carmelo are meeting, and I think this is Carmelo is going to be traded after this meeting sometime this offseason. What do you think this means for Carmelo?
I mean, they are not getting along, and I do agree with you that he's going to be traded. I don't know who's going to want him, and I don't know if he can help a team. And back in the day, I remember rooting for Carmelo and wishing that he would get a finals ring, but there's just players that you root for every day that aren't going to get one. And I'm starting to think Carmelo is just one of those players that's not going to get a ring. And as much as you can say he's relevant in NBA because he gets 20 points a game,
his team isn't relevant.
His team isn't relevant, and
he's only had one Western Conference Finals or one playoff run, and that was with the Nuggets, and that was a long time ago.
And that was when
I believe they had Allen Iverson.
Yeah,
at that
he
time.
had someone helping him. So I don't see him going to a relevant team, and I don't see him helping a team that he goes to very much. And it's hard to say that because at one point in time we considered him MVP numbers.
Yeah, I'm still a fan of his. I liked watching him with Allen Iverson and Chauncey Billups back in the Nugget days, but I don't think many teams are going to be interested. Maybe the Clippers, but I don't know.
Or teams that didn't do so hot this year, like the Nets. And
I don't think he'll go to the Nets. I think he's going to want to go somewhere that has a solid foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
But he's said in interviews that he doesn't care about winning a ring. So if he doesn't care about it, he may go to a team just so that he can pad his stat record.
He says he doesn't care about a ring, but you could tell he cares in the interviews because he's done everything else.
And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but he is a player that I don't know what to call it, but he wants the ball and he wants the points and all that, but he doesn't get that many assists. He turnovers. He has a lot. He's known for turning over the ball. He just doesn't play well with the team. I think he's just me kind of player, and I don't think that helps a team. LeBron is at least a team player and gets all these triple doubles and helps his team and plays defense. Melo just scores his points, does not play defense, and does not care about the team.
Yeah.
He's done that before. He just cares about his stats.
Yeah. But I don't know. I want to see him do well. I'm not sure he's going to go to a team that will. I'm not sure anyone will be interested in him. But I do know his time with the Knicks is up.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Knicks. I thought when they got Melo, I still thought they weren't going to be relevant. I was questioning the whole time when he signed with the Knicks. Like, why did you go to the Knicks?
Here's another question. Do you think they made the right decision by siding with Phil Jackson over Carmelo? Because Phil Jackson's not a good coach.
Well, he's not a coach.
He's a good coach. He's not a good GM.
I don't know where you go in the situation because it's a tough situation. Do you pick the guy who you believe in your team that's going to help your team, or do you pick the guy who is necessarily a player on your team, but you're not going anywhere, regardless who you pick? If they went with Carmelo and they went to get a new GM, they wouldn't have got anywhere. They'd still be a struggling team.
You don't know that. They could have picked somebody else. I don't know, but their organization is a joke right now because Dolan's a terrible owner. He's a laughingstock, and Phil Jackson's a terrible GM. And I think Carmelo will be better off going somewhere else.
Well, if you're not getting along with someone, you're better off going off anywhere else. I mean, he hasn't gotten along with Phil Jackson since Phil Jackson got there. So he would have been better off leaving when Phil Jackson got there.
And another thing is, I wholeheartedly believe that even if Carmelo does go to a championship team and they win his finals, which I'm happy for him, but it will not be because of him. And I think his window of leading a team to a championship is over.
And if he does go to a team like the Clippers or something like that, this is the last thing we'll talk about. If he goes to the Clippers, he will have to either realize that he may not be a starter. He may come off the bench.
I don't think he'll come off the bench. There's a few forwards that are better than him, like Kevin Durant, LeBron, obviously. But there's still a lot of teams that could really use his skill set. He's going to need to take a pay cut if he wants to go to one of those teams. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think he could still be a viable starter.
Well, the last thing I'm going to say about the topic is I think that he thinks that he's just still this great player, and I don't think that he's still that great player. I think that he's a player that averages 20 points a game, that can get you some big shots if you need it, and can maybe get you 30 minutes a game, and he'll get you 20 points, and he'll help your team win. I don't think he's that guy that will have a triple-double, carry your team, and all that.
He's never been that guy. But he's never...
And you need that kind of guy, though.
People say he's a ball hog, but ever since Allen Iverson and Chauncey Billups, he's not had another playmaker on his team. He's always had to do it on his own.
Well, he's had Porzingis.
Okay.
Porzingis is a great playmaker.
But this year he's had so much controversy that he's had to do since the end of his Nuggets career and beginning of the Knicks. He's on his own. He had to take over. They weren't going to win any games. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I am wrong?
No, you're right. Yes, you're right.
So I don't think you can feasibly blame him. But anyways.
Before you get too deep into this subject, I want to put a pin in it because we got to go to a commercial break. We'll come right back to this subject right after this commercial break. This is Andrew signing off from Sports Your Shorts.
Jimmy.
Everybody, it's the young visionary Kobe Thompson.
And this is the young king himself, Jay Todd.
And this is the +1, Jessica Miller.
And we are the originals, plus one. We are the originals because we've been doing our thing on the radio, J-Todd. They just now getting in tune with it. But hey, tune in now. Better late than never, right?
We've been here, cats and kittens, cool men and cool women all around campus. Make sure you tune in every day from 7:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. sharp. Do not miss out.
Yes, please tune in for the best 30 minutes of your life.
Boom.
Bang.
We're back to Sports Your Shorts. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're going to go back to the NBA playoffs for a little bit. We've mentioned a couple of the games it goes on. Right now, the Warriors and Portland are playing in a close game. We'll see how that round winds up. But also, we got Boston and Chicago. And the game I'm most looking forward to, Houston and Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Who do you have in those two games?
Well, as much as it kills me, I think Boston's going to come out. They're probably going to go. They're going to sweep Chicago.
Probably.
And maybe it might be closer than what we think, but they're going to sweep Chicago. And I want Houston. I think Houston's going to come out. But with how strong Westbrook has been playing, they're going to have a hard time containing him.
Yeah, but I don't know. This is the game I'm most excited for. We got the two leading candidates for the MVP. I think they should have waited until the end of this series to crown the MVP, but we'll see. I think Houston's going to come out on top, but it wouldn't surprise me if Oklahoma City managed to do it.
And I think Houston has a better team. So if we look at it that way, who has the better team, they're going to come out on top. And they got the higher seed. But, I mean, it's a toss-up. They're both two very good teams, and they both play well with each other. And it's going to be definitely a showdown. And I really think that whoever wins this wins the MVP. But they're going to announce the MVP before the series is over. So,
yeah. And the lower seeds are actually surpassing my expectations so far.
Well, it's the playoffs. Everybody's gonna once you get in, everybody's gonna fight for what they believe that they can beat them. They don't care what the seed they are. It's like when you go to the NCAA. It doesn't matter what you're seeded. It matters how you play the game. And these teams do not care what they're seeded. Yeah, they had a bad record, but they don't care. They're gonna play their heart out, and they're gonna find ways to beat the team that's higher than them. And like Portland, they're going to find a way to beat Golden State. They're not going to care if they have Durant and Curry. They're going to find a way.
I don't think they're going to beat them. It's going to be close. They're playing really good right now, and also Milwaukee and Indianapolis they're playing very well. Wouldn't surprise me if two of those teams upset their higher seeds. I don't think Golden State's going to lose. They might lose one or two. They're going to win the series.
Yeah. And so if we put our bracket, who do you think's going to move on? You think Golden State's going to move on, and then between the Clippers and Utah, who do you have?
I have the Clippers.
Yeah. So Golden State will face the Clippers in your eyes.
And I think that'll be a good matchup.
Okay, then who do you have next?
Who winning that game?
No, Houston and Oklahoma.
I have Houston winning.
And then San Antonio.
I have San Antonio winning.
So in your bracket, you're going to have Houston versus San Antonio and Golden State versus Clippers. The only way I disagree with you is I think Utah can pull it out over the Clippers. But it's a good series, and the Clippers have a very strong team. So I can agree with you that the Clippers can win.
And out of those games, I think the Warriors will beat the Clippers or Utah, whichever one makes it.
Okay.
And I think
Who will they face? Will they face the Spurs or Houston?
I think the Spurs will win it in 7
Against Houston?
Yeah, and then I have Golden State winning it in 6.
Okay, and making it to the finals.
Yes, and on the East, we got Boston and Chicago. We both got Boston going.
Yeah.
Then Washington and Atlanta. I think Washington's going to win.
I think Washington's the stronger team, so yeah.
And Washington and Boston will be a very good matchup.
Yeah.
I personally really like what John Wall's done this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I got Boston winning in 6.
Okay.
Milwaukee, I think they're going to beat Toronto in 5. Indianapolis and Cleveland, I think Cleveland's going to win it in 7. I think they're going to go all 7. And then they're going to be so tired. If Cleveland keeps playing this way, I got Milwaukee beating Cleveland.
And I do too. If they keep playing and they go 7 with the Pacers, there's no way they can go 7 with the Greek Freak and how well the Bucks play. There's no way they can last 7 games.
And between Boston and Milwaukee, I'm taking Milwaukee in 7.
And you would think Milwaukee would make the finals?
I think Milwaukee could make the finals.
That's a huge risk because I think Boston is such a strong team that they'll make the finals.
But Milwaukee will be on the high of beating the number 3 and the number 2 seed. Why Boston just went through an 8 and a 4.
But the Wizards are stronger than you think. Just because they're a 4 seed does not mean.
Oh, I know.
I think they're stronger than Toronto.
I do too.
And Milwaukee.
I do too. But having just beat LeBron James, they're gonna have so much momentum going for them. It's gonna be hard to slow them down, man.
So you think it's gonna be the Bucks and the Warriors in the finals?
I do.
And you think the Warriors are gonna take it out?
I think the Warriors will take it in 6.
That's a strong pick. I'm not saying I disagree with it. That is very high.
I gotta be bold.
Yeah, you gotta be bold. So I'm still gonna go with the Warriors in Boston though, and I think the Warriors are gonna take it. That's what I think is gonna happen.
Well, either way, neither of us have the Cavs going, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, because I'm a little tired of seeing LeBron in the finals. It's been 5 straight years.
6
I think.
years.
It's been
This
6
will
straight
be 7
years.
if he makes it.
This will be 7 straight years. So I want something new.
All right, let's move on to the NFL.
Okay.
Todd Heap, the former tight end for the Ravens, his daughter passed away in an accident.
Yeah, it was a terrible accident. I don't know if we want to go into too much detail, but I guess he was backing up his car and he hit her.
Oh no.
So our prayers definitely go out to him and his family. That's a very terrible thing that's happened and something that is just terrible to affect a family.
A parent should never have to lose a child.
Yeah, and it's very sad, and our condolences go out to him and his family.
Another bit of sad news. Dan Rooney passed away. He was, I believe, the owner for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. I know his family owns it.
He was a huge deal. When he became a big member of the organization, that's when they got the Iron Curtain started. Since he's been there, they've only had 3 head coaches, and they've been the most dominant franchise in the league.
Yeah, so it is a sad day for those, not just Todd Heap, but also the Steelers organization and
the entire city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so our hearts go out to them and hope that they can make it out this way. And they'll definitely be playing for Rooney. Pittsburgh will.
They're going to be a team to look out for now.
Yeah, definitely.
And we got a few retirements. Roddy White, he's retired, and James Laurinaitis also retired. I remember watching Roddy White play with the Falcons. He was Julio Jones's mentor.
Yeah, and they had that dual threat, which was amazing.
Yeah, that was really good for a while.
So it's kind of.
I wish that he would have been able to at least been on the team last year to experience what they got to experience, but that's not how the NFL works.
I'm a little, I don't know if I want to say shocked, but James Laurinaitis only played 8 years. And he was a really strong linebacker for the Rams. I don't know if he was last year, but in previous years, he was a really strong linebacker for him. So I'm a little shocked that he's given it up only after 8 years.
I mean, you get all these players retiring earlier and earlier. They just want to make their money, and because all these injuries that happen, and the NFL is becoming kind of a joke with the new rule changes and everything. So it won't surprise me if you see more and more players be doing this.
So what do you think, before we start worrying about a player's retirement, after how many years do we kind of question, is this his last year? Like, is 6 too early to call it? Or do you think more players are going to start retiring in 6 years?
I think you should look at how they play.
Okay.
You see players play like Derek Johnson for the Chiefs or James Harrison for the Steelers and Tom Brady. They love the game. They want to play as long as they can. But James Laurinaitis, if you watched, I'm sure you could tell that his heart wasn't in it anymore.
Okay.
So when you see the decline in play, that's probably when you start questioning it.
But you just mentioned all these players that are on relevant teams. James Laurinaitis has been on the Rams that's been struggling and struggling and struggling, and they don't have players around him, so he's had to pick up the slack. Harrison, he's been pro for so long, but he's also had players around him to pick up the slack. They got Shazier, who's a great rookie.
Yeah, but you got to remember the Chiefs for the longest time were really bad. When Derek Johnson was on there was 4 years in a row, 3 or 4 years in a row where we were 2-14, 4-12, and 2-14.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean we weren't relevant then, but he still played his hearts out.
Okay. So you're thinking that it's not just it's how they play the game. It's not just how many years they have under their belt.
Yeah,
It affects their retirement.
that's what I think.
Okay. Because from my point of view, is I can name a lot of players that still got great years ahead of them that are longer than 8 years.
Yeah.
And it really shocks me when I see someone who's only been pro for 8 years kind of calling it a quits. But it is a league of younger talent's going to pass you.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play for the Rams either. So, anyways, Seattle news. They are expected to trade Marshawn Lynch to the Raiders as long as they get a reworked contract.
Okay.
The Raiders want Marshawn Lynch to make less money. I don't think he's going to be that big of a difference maker. I think it's more of a PR move to try to get the fans in Oakland to hate him less.
I don't think that he's going to be that big of a difference maker, but I still think with the Raiders how young their running back core is, and having a veteran guy who's hit the holes and can run a lot better than these young guys, maybe just watching him could help the young guys. I'm not saying he can coach them, but just having someone to watch can help these young guys.
Yeah, and he's just the media gives him such a break. He's not a fan-friendly guy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story this week. An 18-year-old saw him in an airport, was trying to take his picture, and he ran up and smacked the phone out of the kid's hand. And then leaving the airport, he spit at him. He didn't spit on him, but he spit at him. He's 18-year-old and Marshawn Lynch, and you don't hear about it from the media because the media is like, "Oh, he's Marshawn Lynch. What do you expect?" But I think there needs to be more discipline with him, and a lot of players don't like him.
Yeah, but that's the persona that he created. He always said, "I'm just here so I don't get fined."
Yeah.
That's just the player he was. He didn't want to do anything. He wanted to be this cocky little gang-related guy, and that's what he got. And he got all that backlash because he wanted to be that guy.
Anyways, in other Seattle news, they're expected to try to trade Richard Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a good move, bad move?
We're going to talk about this for a little bit, and then we got to go to a break. But I think that them trying to trade Richard Sherman is a good move for them because I think he's only got 2 or 3 years, so he's going to be relevant, and then he's gone. And they got to try to get some good for him, and he's shown that he can play for 2 or 3 years. So this is your time to get something for him. He is a disruption in your locker room, so you get rid of a disruption in your locker room, which is a good thing. He calls out your offensive coordinator. Regardless if I agree with him because I don't like what Pete Carroll has done, you don't do that. You're on the defense. Don't worry about the offense. Your job is to guard a receiver. That's your job. Nothing else should matter to you. Your job is to guard a receiver. If the receiver got a 100-yard day, you had a bad day. Go fix your day. Don't worry about what the offense is doing. Do your job.
Yeah, and I've never been a big fan of him, but what teams do you think would be willing to trade for him?
Well, there's teams that are be willing to trade for him, but the team that I think that he should go to, and it's not going to put up with anything that he does, and it's either going to help his career because he's going to start getting disciplined, and they're not going to put up with him, and he's going to become a better player out of it, or it's going to affect his career to where he's not going to play anymore. And that's the Patriots. They're either going to discipline him enough to where he goes, okay, I can't do what I did in Seattle, and I can't get away with it. So I want to continue to play in this league, and people to like me, and people to think that I'm relevant. I'm going to start doing this. Or he's going to think, I don't care what the Patriots think. I'm still this and that, and he's just going to fall off the wayside.
But
those are the two things that I think is going to happen.
Bill Belichick won't put up with him, and right now that people are they're in talks with other cornerbacks.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily sure the Patriots will be them anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if a Tampa Bay tried to trade for him, like they did with Darrelle Revis back in the day.
Or the Saints. The Saints have also been talks with him because the Saints have had such a bad defense. They think that it could help them.
Maybe. I think Tampa Bay would probably be the best fit for him, and I think it'd be good for him. Maybe he'll keep his mouth shut a little bit more. But anyways, let's go ahead and take our final break.
Okay, this is Andrew signing off.
And Jimmy.
Everybody, it's the young visionary Kobe Thompson.
And this is the young king himself, Jay Todd.
And this is the +1, Jessica Miller.
And we are the originals, plus one. We are the originals because we've been doing our thing on the radio, J Todd. They just now getting in tune with it. But hey, tune in now. Better late than never, right?
We've been here, cats and kittens, cool men and cool women all around campus. Make sure you tune in every day from 7:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. sharp. Do not miss out.
Yes, please tune in for the best 30 minutes of your life.
Boom.
Bang.
All right, we're back from our break. This is Sports for Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And what we were talking about on our break is we were talking about the Richard Sherman news, where we think he's going to go. And in other NFL news, we have
a bunch of
teams looking for quarterbacks, either in the draft or they may just kind of start who they have and see how it goes and try to look next year's draft for a quarterback.
I think the Jets are not going to draft a quarterback this year. I think they're going to try to go for Sam Darnold next year.
Okay.
And I think the same with the Browns. I think they're going to have a suck for luck type thing going on.
And I agree with you that the Browns shouldn't draft a quarterback because I think they need more help on their defense, and I think they should try who they have. Brock Osweiler, you made a trade for him. Regardless if you did it just to get up picks, I think you should try him. Or you should try Kessler and see what you get. So I think that you should do that. For the Jets, on the other hand, I really think they should make a run for a quarterback if they don't want to just tank the season.
I think they're going to tank the season. They got rid of all their veteran players. They're in a rebuilding phase. Now, the Texans, I think they should draft a quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, I like Tom Savage. He might be good, but why not pick up a quarterback?
Yeah, and you had a player, Tom Savage, he only played 2 games, maybe 3, before he got hurt, and he had 1 win and then 2 okays. So if you draft a quarterback, I mean, who knows? He might be better than Tom Savage, and he might win you more games than you think Tom Savage will. And I really want to see these rookies play, like Patrick Mahoney, and I want to see what they got. I want to see if they can win it and make a team win.
The 49ers, They're probably going to draft a quarterback if they don't trade their second overall pick. There's rumors right now that they're looking to dish out the pick.
For what?
They're open for trades. They didn't specify what they trade for.
Well, it's very highly unlikely that they're going to get Kirk Cousins this year. They may get him next year, but it's very unlikely they're going to get him this year.
Yeah.
So I do see them, if not draft. I don't think you should waste your second pick on the quarterback, though. I think you should wait a little bit, but the quarterbacks we have this year, they could be gone if you wait too long.
Yeah. That's why I think a trade would be good for him. Now, a bunch of players and former players got in trouble this week in Vegas. They were gambling on an arm wrestling competition. The NFL is investigating, and they are handing out fines like candy. Do you think it's a big deal that they were in Vegas?
I don't think it's a big deal that they were in Vegas, and I don't even think it's a big deal that they were gambling because I think the proceeds to the arm wrestling went to something good. Like, I think all the money that they made bets for went to something good, if I remember correctly.
And, you know, the NFL, they gave the Raiders permission to go to Vegas, so they shouldn't be that strict on Vegas anymore. Right now, they're...
And Vegas is known for gambling. Why can't these players gamble and have fun?
And it's not like they're gambling on football.
No, they aren't. They're gambling on arm wrestling.
They should be able to gamble on what they want as long as it's not football related.
Yeah, so I don't see anything wrong with it, and I think the NFL is going way overboard than what they need to be doing right now.
They need to work on something. They need to work on their penalties and stuff, because some fines are ridiculous, like these, and then some players are getting away with slaps on the wrist for abuse and stuff.
Yeah.
So they need to work on their punishments and everything, but...
And I don't think everything needs a punishment. Gambling, Vegas is for gambling. Vegas is for gambling, though. So I don't think that you should punish someone for doing what Vegas is for. And now you got a team there. Players are going to want to gamble and have fun. And they're going to get punished for it? That sounds a little outrageous to me.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Now, the Patriots open the season, and even though the Falcons are on their home schedule, it looks like the NFL is deciding not to go with a Super Bowl rematch for the second year in a row.
Okay.
Do you think that's a good move, or did you like the Super Bowl rematch last year?
I liked it, and they do face the Falcons on their home schedule, correct?
Yeah.
So they face them anyway. It may not be like the first week, but that's still a Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, but they opened the season with it last year. Do you think it would have been better to do that, or?
I don't think it really has an effect.
Yeah, you don't?
I really don't. I mean, it was a great game. The Panthers and the Broncos was a great game, but Broncos won. So it really didn't have an effect.
No.
I mean, if the Panthers beat them, maybe I'd be saying something different. But right now, I didn't think it had that big of an effect.
Now, for me, I'm much more likely to watch this game now because it's projected that the Patriots are going to open the season against the Chiefs this year. Mm-hmm. And as you know, I'm a Chiefs fan. Do you like that move? Do you think they should have gone with maybe a division rival? Or?
Well, I mean, they could have gone with a division rival, but I don't think it affects how many people are going to watch the game or anything like that. It's going to be a good game no matter what. Patriots and the Chiefs. Chiefs made the playoffs last year. Chiefs were an outstanding team last year. Patriots won the Super Bowl last year. Great team as well. So people are going to watch it regardless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when they play or all that. They're going to watch it, and they're going to turn out, and it's going to be good ratings for the NFL. So I don't see it affecting anything like that.
I just know that the sooner I can watch some Chiefs football, the better it is for me.
And if they beat the Patriots, you've got some say now. You don't have to say like the Chiefs are irrelevant. You don't have to hear any of that because they beat the Super Bowl team right off the bat.
Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be a good game. I'm excited to see hopefully the quarterback that the Chiefs drafted to play that game.
You don't want to see Alex Smith play the game?
Not really.
Are you done watching Alex Smith in a Chiefs uniform?
I'm gonna watch him. I am done having really high expectations for him in a Chiefs uniform, but there's some people that are still big Alex Smith supporters. But Tom Brady's gonna be playing till he's 57 probably, something ridiculous, and I have a feeling the Patriots are gonna be dominant for a long time, even after Tom Brady.
Well, it's not just the Patriots being dominant after Tom Brady that makes you think that Alex Smith is just not good enough to lead the Chiefs to dominance, is it?
No, the reason I don't think Alex Smith will lead the Chiefs to dominance is because he's not going to win you a game. He's not going to lose you games, but he's not going to go out and throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
And Tom Brady's going to do that.
Most quarterbacks will do that.
Yeah.
And Alex Smith is a very safe quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we've hit our ceiling with that, and I'm not happy with our ceiling.
Well, you're not going to be happy unless they win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And
Alex Smith can't do that.
But there isn't. I don't think a rookie can do that unless you wait a couple years. And are you ready as a Chiefs fan to be another developing?
Didn't Ben Roethlisberger win it a year?
No, I think it took him 2.
Okay, I'm fine with waiting another year.
Or 2, maybe 3. Are you fine with developing for 3 years?
I don't think it'll take 3 years. Our team's already good. Really good. And we got a lot of really good defensive players, and I don't know. I think that we could win his rookie year.
I think it will take maybe 2 years after his rookie year for you guys to become relevant and win a Super Bowl, but I do think, and I agree with you, that they have hit their ceiling with Alex Smith, and this is as far as they're going. They're going to win a playoff game, maybe 2, but they're not going to make a championship or a Super Bowl with Alex Smith.
And Ben Roethlisberger won it in his second year.
Okay,
so I'm fine with getting a playoff appearance first year and a Super Bowl the next year.
Okay, you're fine with waiting, and you're...
As long as I see that he's the quarterback that we're going to be needing, then I'm fine with it.
Okay. But what if he becomes a bust?
I don't think we can't afford that.
You can't afford that? Okay.
I think the people of Kansas City will probably burn his house down.
It's a little extreme, but...
I trust John Dorsey's talent evaluation. He drafted Aaron Rodgers, so...
Which is the best quarterback in the NFL, hands down.
Yeah.
So, if he can do that, I do trust his talent.
Now, him and Olivia Munn just broke up. That's big a deal, right?
No, it's not.
It's a very big deal.
It's not a
Whose
big
fault was it? Is it the woman or the man's fault?
I'm not going to comment on that because I might get a little backlash because it's always a woman's fault. Anyway, the whole thing is... That was way off topic. But before we get off topic about the NFL and Olivia Munn and Aaron Rodgers' relationship is over, the thing is we both think the Chiefs have hit their ceiling with Alex Smith. And there's going to continue to be more news in the NFL, more news in the NBA, more news in the MLB. And we're going to continue to report on it at Sports Your Shorts. So some things that we want you to check out is...
Well, I have a Facebook. Do you have a Facebook, Andrew?
I do.
Oh my goodness. You know what you should do?
What should I do?
You should go in the search bar and search for Sports Your Shorts.
Wait, there's a Facebook page?
Yeah, there is. And you should hit that like button.
Okay. So
and you should post on our wall and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we will respond. If you guys post on our wall, we'll respond to you. If you have your own sports opinion, we would be glad to talk with you. And maybe you may even get featured in our show. So definitely hit our Facebook page. Definitely hit your opinions up and see what you guys like about us.
Alrighty.
Alright, this is Sports Your Shorts signing off. And we hope that you guys check out our Facebook page and interact with us. We're ready for you. This is Andrew signing off.
I'm Jimmy.
You're signing off.